trailer. Tell us a little bit about this film, Zack. As far as the framing, I mean, there's a lot going on there.
So, well, yeah, I mean, look, you know, the movie comes out in March, and you know, I wanted to, you know, just, so we whacked those shots together to, you know, I really just wanted to give everyone just a sense of kind of what we're up to. You know, we're still a little ways away from finishing the movie, but I wanted to, you know, to give everyone a sense of kind of how we're doing it.
You know, ladies, it must be great. I can tell you're all pretty excited. Will you talk a little bit about making the movie and also a little bit about the footage? Maybe go down the line.
Well, that was the first time. I mean, this is the first time we've ever seen it. We're like dying. I keep craning my neck the entire time. Wow.
Since people don't know your characters, maybe take turns. Talk a little bit about your character and your reaction to that footage.
Okay. My reaction to the footage is I'm kind of shaking like crazy. But so I play Baby Doll, and her mother dies, and she's left with her abusive stepfather, and he puts her into an insane asylum to be possibly lobotomized, and she has to sort of escape. And she meets these friends along the way that she sort of plans to escape with.
I play Blondie, and I'm really afraid that my voice is shaking right now because I am so excited. That was so cool. I had a feeling when we were making it that it was going to be neat, but I had no idea it was going to be that awesome. I give you props, Zack. It's so cool. But yeah, I play Blondie. She kind of fits into the world with this amazing group of girls, and she actually gets to shoot some of the biggest guns, which is, I think, one of my favorite parts. I run around with like a saw and get to shoot 50 cals and 30 cals and all this pretty badass stuff.
I play Rocket, and it's so amazing to see it. God, I wish we could be out there. You guys have the good seats. Yeah. Yeah, Rocket sort of, she plays Sweet Pea's younger sister, and Baby Doll comes into this world, and I sort of have to introduce her, and kind of end up really liking her and what she's trying to bring to the table and offer, and she offers up this really beautiful idea of escape, and I help rally the troops. I'm a rallier.
My character's name is Amber, and she is kind of the first one to jump on board with Baby Doll's plan, and you know, throughout the film she's trying to stay together with everyone, and she's extremely loyal, and I think that kind of reflects, you know, throughout the fantasy scenes.
That footage was crazy. It's hard to even articulate an answer after that. I play Dr. Gorski, who is a Polish psychiatrist in the insane asylum. And in sort of the alternate world, I'm a dominatrix-influenced choreographer / madame. I mean, you never think you could really say that, right? That is actually my character. And it was such an extraordinary experience that in only a way that Zack can do is sort of elevated to something like that I don't think I've ever experienced, and you probably will have never seen. So,
you know, Zack, one of the things this film takes place in an insane asylum, and it goes well beyond that. Obviously, it's sort of I was telling people it's sort of like Alice in Wonderland meets One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with a little Walter Mitty, and then about 19 other movies. Tell us about the creative process for this. Where did the story come from?
You know, the story came from I guess, you know, where it really originated was, for me, was in this transition sort of concept. You know, I've been making TV commercials before I started making movies for about 15 years, and, you know, there was a just visual process of sort of condensing time and effing around with time, started to like create this sort of germ of an idea, and Steve and I would kick it around and we would talk about it. And really that transition from an insane asylum to this other world as a place where people go in a stressful moment, in a single moment, being able to sort of pack a whole other experience into this other moment. You know, that's kind of where the idea started, and then it kind of evolved from there and grew. And it also, you know, I I was also fascinated by sort of trying to create an ending, because the movie does have sort of a twist or a reveal, and I was always interested in trying to create an ending that was satisfying and interesting. That it wasn't just right when you start to feel like the movie's about these crazy action sequences. Really, what these girls did was create a movie that when I saw the first cut of the movie so far, I felt like, okay, I can just take all the action out of this movie. This will be awesome because the girls did such an amazing job. So, that's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't answer the question at all.
That's fine.
I don't do that.
And then the characters have their own dances that they do, and the dances that they do are a representation of self. And transports the viewer into these alternate places that they go. Could you ladies talk a little bit about your dances and the filming of it?
Yeah, what we did was, let me just set it up a little bit. What we did was, there's a sequence in the movie that sort of shows the, I guess it sort of depicts a day in the life of the reality that has been created. And in that reality, there's a, I don't know, like a sort of a dancing, sort of singing aspect to it. And that the girls each had to do a sort of montage of like what they would have been doing. So we had to create, other than the fight choreography they were doing, they also had to find the time to do this other crazy choreography, which you saw a teeny glimpse of. But so yeah, that sort of, anyway, they can talk about it now. They can talk about it without me setting it up, but anyway, I have to.
What about the performances?
I was just going to say, I didn't get to do a dance, actually. But
Yeah,
every time,
Our baby doll doesn't dance because she's not allowed to yet.
Yeah, you don't want to see me dancing. Every time my character dances is when we sort of get transported into the other worlds. But it was pretty cool. We all sort of would group together and watch all of the other girls when they had their solo dances, and it was kind of amazing to just sit there and watch them with this crazy choreography.
Yeah. Well, what's so cool is like Carla's character in the reality of the world would be like a therapist, and she's using a form of sound therapy. And then that's sort of translated into another thing of this sound therapy is the interpretation of our own unique dances in the alternate reality. So we all we got to learn these different sort of borderline burlesque, interpretive dances about different internal struggles that our characters were going through. And I think that's what's so cool about the film is that film is you get to sort of visualize your internal struggles, and Zack does it in such a beautiful way of like adding this element, like where do we go in our mind when we're experiencing pain, when we're experiencing whatever, mistrust or uncomfort, and he sort of allows these characters to find a really strong and beautiful way to express that discomfort in their own individual way, and that's what our dances sort of became. I think it'll be exciting for you guys to see them, though. I mean, I don't want to really go into any too much of the detail.
They also were, we did them in this massive hall that was built that was like an old kind of homage to sort of Moulin Rouge, other time, very rich colors in this huge space with real people in it, which also is kind of a great thing, because so often when you make a movie, you just you have a camera and you're sort of pretending that a bunch of people are watching, and there's such a different thing to live performance. So I think for all of us that was so great, is that each night, every time we did one of the dances, there was a huge group of people there watching, and it gave it this kind of spectacular energy.
There's a really fascinating liquid mayhem to some of the scenes. It's really interesting to see what you've done visually with the film. I think we're going to take some questions from the audience, and then, hey there. Oh, these guys again.
Are we getting overbearing?
No. It's a nice presentation.
This question is for Zack Snyder. In 300, you worked with an all-male cast. How much better is it